Hello viewers, range charts or Renko charts, what is the better? That's what this video is all about. Is it the ancient way of using the charts or the modern upstart comer? Both share very similar underpinnings, and in this video I'm going to take you through what range charts are, how you can use them in your charts, strengths, weaknesses. Then we're going to have a quick look at Renko. Then it's a face-off, a battle between the two. What comes out on top for your trading, we are going to find out. Then we're going to draw it all together and hopefully we have found a winner. So with that, let's get started. So you firstly join me in the TradingView chart window. I want to show you how you get range charts on your platform. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, and just how you can quickly interpret what they are telling you and how you can set it up for your own trading. Now if you want to find them, just go up to the top where all the different types of chart type are located, click on range, and then you'll get this view. If you just double click on any of those candles there, you can actually set it by either bars, now look like that, or candles. So then that brings us to the interesting question: is what is that individual bar or candle showing us? Well, this is where we go back to the top and have a look. Instead of time like 1 minute or 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, etc., we now got this thing that's saying 5R. If I just click on that, bringing down the drop down, scroll down to the bottom, you can see actually now it says like 1 range, 5 range, 10 range. We've got something here called range, and that is what we need to set. Now here I'm using the S&P 500, and we've got to start thinking in terms of ticks here, because 5R in the S&P world is 5 ticks times 0.25. So that would be the height of one of your bars, candles here. So if we wanted an actual 5-point move in the S&P to show up on our range chart here, what would we have to do? Well, we could go up to that setting again, do the add custom interval, we flip it over to range, and that would need to be 20, because remember 5 times the 4 ticks into that go 20, and there we go. We've added that to the range, and we click on that, and that has now given us, if you took the time to measure, the 5 points on the range chart. So it's a little bit confusing setting up your range charts to start with, but a bit of practice and you'll get used to it. And like any other chart type, you can add any indicators you want to it, up to the indicator box. I know Bollinger Bands, see what they look like. Something below, let's go stochastic. Play all around. It's quite straightforward, quite easy to do. The only trick is getting used to that range setting and getting the right setting for what you need. So you've got to think in terms of your strategy. Is it a trend following, reversion, breakout? Factor in the volatility of the instrument, as you would with Renko, to come up with the correct range size for what you're trading. So now we've seen them in the charts, let's get into a bit of background behind them, the what, the history, the why, strengths, weaknesses. Range charts basically then compress time and only print a new bar or candle when the price travels a fixed range, very much like Renko charts. For example, 4 ticks, 5 pips, or 1 point. If the price doesn't move enough, nothing plots. If it moves quickly, you get more bars. In short, bars equal movement, not minutes. And range bars were popularized in the 1990s, that's why I called them the new upstart in the intro, by Brazilian trader Vicente Nicolelis Jr. And the goal was to strip out the noise of time and focus purely on volatility and price expansion. So why are they useful? Well, they normalize bar height, and every bar's high low equals your chosen range, a bit like the Renko block. That helps with stop placement, pattern recognition and indicator calibration. They adapt to volatility, fewer bars in slow periods, rapid printing in momentum bursts, and they can sharpen breakouts. Genuine range expansion shows up earlier than on time charts. So what are the weaknesses, the gotchas of range charts? Well, chop sensitivity, set the range too small and you'll get floods of bars and micro fake outs. Parameter fragility, small tweaks, e.g. for example 4 versus 5 ticks can change behavior materially. No session clock. Without time context you can misread lunch, lulls or news windows. Although, as you saw in the TradingView window, most charting packages have sort of accidentally added in time to this sort of chart type, as they have with Renko, Kagi and line break as well. Also there, backtest caution. If you range fit to past regimes, expectancy can drop when volatility shifts. Back in TradingView now, let's explore Renko. For those new to the channel, welcome. But if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I love my Renko charts. I've used them successfully for many years. And you might think this is a biased overview, but I'm actually going to be quite fair on what I think's the best here between the Renko and the range charts. But for those new to the channel, want to know how to get your Renko charts on, say, TradingView, very simple. Again, just go up to the top, click the button, find Renko, and it will convert nicely to that fantastic looking S&P 500 chart there. Again, if you follow the channel, you know, and all the links, or you got my book or other products, then you'll know how to set you know, the parameters of the Renko chart. I always trade off the 1 minute window, and again, if you just double click on there, you've got different settings to formalize those blocks into the size you want, a bit like our range charts that we looked at. And how do we do that? We can use a standard ATR, average true range, and set the parameters there, the length, and that's going to automatically do it for you. Or we can use percentage, or you can use the traditional. And my method is I use a volatility based approach with a traditional fixed block size, because in TradingView, if you don't use the traditional, you're not going to be able to use signals, for example. But it's exactly the same as our range charts. You can add on, you know, whatever indicators you like. And because the Renko charts make things so much clearer, I believe that they make the indicators just as strong. So let's get back to just have a quick summarization of the Renko world. So what's good about Renko then? Why do they excel as a chart type? Well, as you could see when I put up that S&P 500 chart, just the noise filtration, it just makes things stand out, you know, takes away all that clutter, and you can see the trends, the reversal points, support and resistance so much clearer in my opinion. And that gives you, like I said, a more directional intent to your trading. Clearer entries, brick flips align beautifully, we say, like the 200 moving average, a stochastic oscillator that you could line up with. Risk discipline as well, brick size equals intuitive stop math and easy cross market standardization. And as you will find if you use Renko, for psychology, discipline, resilience, consistency in your trading, you know, the visualization, the representation of these blocks, the Renko charts, makes your trading, I think, a lot easier, and also helps you reduce over trading and, as it says there, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So some caveats, downsides to the Renko charts. Renko will lag turns by design. You need a full brick to confirm, but you can get smart with that and speed things up or slow things down if you need to. Too small equals noisy, the bricks that is, and too large you can miss swing. So you've got to get it spot on, the brick size, very important, and you've got to calibrate that to volatility. Backtests also must respect brick formation and don't assume perfect intra brick fills. So before the head-to-head, here are the big similarities. You can see in this Venn diagram there the overlap. Both ignore time. Bars, bricks print only when price moves enough. Both compress noise and can improve psychology by simplifying structure. Both are parameter sensitive. Choose sizes relative to volatility and session. Both work well with a simple framework. High time frame bias plus one timing trigger plus rule-based risk. Both can underperform when missized or when regime shifts and you don't retune. So then on to the battle, Renko versus Range. Who's going to come out on top? So got a very fast S&P 500 E-mini futures set up here. On the left we've got the Renko chart set to $1 block size. On the right hand side we've got an 8R, so a 2-point move for range charts. Now call this the index grind and burst type test. Now in my opinion, from looking at this, I think the range chart great for breakout scalps, but midday chop can spam alternating bars. The bursts, on that 2 points out there around cash open, close, prints probably the bars faster. And on the Renko side, the intraday trend, stairs become really clearer. You can really see those trends. So Renko usually generates fewer false flips in chop and keeps you in the better legs longer with a 1 or 2 brick trail, say for example. So my mini score for this test, for breakouts, I think range is slightly better, but for trend clarity and fewer chops, I'm going Renko. So onto the whipsaw energy test, and we move to crude oil, ticker MCL. Set again quite quick, 5 cents for both. And crude oil, that mean reverts intraday but can squeeze violently. On the range, that 5 cents, you'll feel volatility breathe nice for quick fades, but the whips can be savage. Just have a look at the clarity of the two charts there. A lot more noise there on the range chart on the right. On Renko, 5 cents, reversals demand commitment, many whips get filtered. Stops are straightforward, 1 brick beyond, for example, the swing, trail, 1 or 2 bricks. So the mini score here, micro reversion scalps, probably range with some tough discipline there to get that to work, probably does good, but chop avoidance and squeeze rise, well, Renko is the winner. So for our final test, it's the FX session flow test. We've got the euro US dollar, 5 pips for each, that's 50R on the range chart. Now on the range chart, the breakouts, say London, New York, maybe even Asia, will show quite neatly, but quiet sessions can create micro fake outs. And on the Renko, you can see the trends, the swings very neatly, very tidily. And if you combine with, say, a 200 moving average or a Z-score stochastic oscillator, even Bollinger Bands, entries will become more selective and I think a lot more transparent. So the mini score here, call it the FX session flow test. I think it's a tie really between the two. Probably the range bar, as you can see on the charts, is more active, so you might get that early acceleration that you're looking for, but for all day consistency, Renko holds the top. So let's make that all a bit easier actually and put it into a comparison table, when to use which. Now time used, as we've already mentioned, both shouldn't have time, but with modern charts, and if you're a smart thinking trader, then both do actually add in time now, which gives them both a unique dimension. So that's the same for each. How a bar brick forms, on range charts, new bar after fixed price range, Renko new brick after fixed price move, confirmed. Visual clarity, good in trends, messy in chop. I think Renko excellent for trend steps and filters micro whips. Breakout sensitivity high on the range charts, bar accelerates with momentum. Moderate on the Renko charts, needs full brick, fewer false starts. Mean reversion scalp strong for range charts, with large range and discipline. Renko charts good with filters but designed to remove micro noise. The chop protection slightly weaker there on the range charts. Medium, parameter fragile. High on Renko. Reversal requires commitment. Risk placement, range based stops are intuitive. Brick based stops are very intuitive. Parameter risk high for range charts. Small tweaks can change behavior. Moderate for Renko, still needs tuning and more stable visually. Psychology, range charts can invite over trading in chop. Renko charts, as we've seen, cleaner picture and helps rule following. And the TradingView setup that we've seen there, just to add on to the end. Chart type, range bar candles, the presets you've got there, or custom. Chart type, Renko, traditional or ATR or percentage. You set the brick size or ATR length. So who wins the battle of the chart types then? Well, range charts, got to say, very good for maybe momentum or breakout scalping, but I'm afraid I think I'm going to have to stick with Renko. I can't see any reason why I would shift from Renko to range charts, only because I think that the clarity, the cleanliness, the removing of the noise, the chop, the day-to-day consistency, how I think it would probably aid trading discipline and psychology a lot better, and I think for creating strategy as well. Renko for me just nudges it. You might think I'm biased. I've tried to be as fair as I can in my opinion here, but like I said, I don't see any reason why I would shift to range charts. I think they're very good, the range charts, and like I said, very, very similar in their construction. I think it's just the visual edge for me personally, and that's my own personal opinion, and I'm sure there are people out there that think range charts are better, and you're probably doing very well from them, and that's all well and good, and my personal preference is going to stick with Renko. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. Give us the thumbs up if you've liked it. Don't forget to hit the subscription and bell buttons for further notifications of content that I will be producing. Now, if you want to learn more about Renko and how you can use it, you can see over my shoulder I've got a couple of books, the Renko Chart Trading Revolution and the Samurai Trading Code. They're available. I'll put links in the description below this. Got lots of video content on the channel for you to follow, and also some great digital products as well. We've got the Renko Masterclass that I did recently on there. Some block sizing tools now that you can also purchase. Got you all covered in the world of Renko. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in that next video.